Welcome everyone. For the next few weeks, we're going to be adding an additional layer to the PD&3 called the next branch. This is where we'll dive a little bit more deeply into one of the topics or principles that you got from the main PD&3. Let's dive in. For this next branch, we're going to dive a little bit more deeply into one of those intervention areas that Mr. Charbonnet mentioned, the idea of having and communicating high expectations for students. Starting specifically that the words that we use convey meaning to our students and can even impact how we think about our students. Let's think about the labels that we sometimes use for students. While those labels do convey information such as whether a student is an English language learner or a student who may have special needs, a lot of times what happens is those labels actually then seep into our brain and work backwards and allow us to come up with excuses and reasons for why a student is achieving what he or she or they are achieving. And that leads back to that label. Think of it this way. This plant is a tree. This plant is a bush. These are the same plants. It's just we decided that one was going to be a tree and one was going to be a bush. The same principle applies when we talk about our students using certain language. This applies to anything around education and what we call things. If you tell students that they're in an advanced class, that's going to set a certain level of expectations for them. If you tell students they're in a regular class, that too will set a certain level of expectations for them. So think about how you're communicating what we're communicating to students and how that can lead to increased levels of expectations for all your students. So changing the expectations we have for students by virtue of the language we use with them and about them can be a good first step in ratcheting up some expectations. Something a little bit more tangible could be the document that you will find at this address, which gives you some more information about how to scaffold material for students, how to chunk material for students, and make things a little bit more accessible so that you can have those high expectations, but also give students some of the supports that they may need to actually reach those expectations. This has been The Next Branch.